very much for having me here today. My presentation is going to be on crafting effective scholarship and university applications. So this is for any high school students, prospective high school students, or parents of high school students. This is something you really want to get into. So thank you all for coming, and let's begin. I'll do a quick overview of my background and experience as a student and as a scholarship winner. I'm a current UBC engineering student. I am also a winner of the Leading Luminary Shine Scholarship. I am a recent high school graduate, so I graduated high school in 2024, and I just completed my first year at UBC, and I won my Leading Luminary Scholarship in 2024 as well. On the side here, you can see on this rightmost photo is one of my projects that I'm working on. I'm part of the Submarine UBC Drivetrain Sub-Team. We create a human-powered submarine every year at UBC. So that's just some of my experience in the field. And yeah, let's get into it. Now, what do these numbers mean? They're here to show you that even though I am where I am today, it was not easy. As a student, there's so many challenges and trials you have to go through that sometimes it gets discouraging. But you have to make sure that you keep your confidence levels high and you don't get discouraged and you keep pushing until you get the results that you deserve. Right? So, I applied to 33 scholarships in my grade 12 year. I applied to 6 different universities in Canada, and in the end, I ended up with 1 full ride scholarship and 1 enrollment in UBC. Okay, it's a numbers game, and there's a lot of work you have to do. But once you get there, that's when you can sit back and you can put your effort into your academic journey from there on. Let's get into some background information. This is really important to know. What you see is in the largest photo is something called EduPlanner BC. This is a university application portal for any British Columbia institutions. So if you're a high school student, EduPlanner is where you are going to be doing the majority of your university applications. And on the right side here are some scholarship application portals. This is a really good page to take a picture of. If you want to do that, please take time to do it now. These sites will be your best friend as an applicant. These will help you a lot. So on the top you can see Student Awards. Student Awards has what I believe to be the largest catalog of post-secondary scholarships available. They have a very nice website. It's very easy to apply and to research and learn about different scholarships. I highly, highly recommend checking out Student Awards. And on the bottom you see Scholarship Partners. Scholarship Partners is, they don't have as large a catalog of scholarships, but they host some of the largest and most generous scholarships in Canada. So I put these up here just to show you some of the highlights of places to go for your applications and for your scholarship research. Keep these in mind if you're a high school student and looking to in the future. And now, a quick overview of the actual university application process. I've organized this to show some of the most popular post-secondary institutions in Canada. You can notice that EduPlanner is used as an application portal for UBC, SFU, and UVic. It's used for any British Columbian university. But for places like U of T or other Ontario universities, you would have to use the Ontario Provincial University Application Portal. For some places like the University of Alberta, they have their own dedicated application website. So, since we are all BC residents, EduPlanner is going to be your best friend, okay? You're going to spend a lot of time on EduPlanner applying to these British Columbian universities. With the short answer questions, you'll see that every single university, pretty much, requires you to answer some short answer questions. And some of them require you to do essays. And very few require you to do interviews, which require a lot of extra work and a lot of interpersonal communication skills. And finally, every single university you apply to will ask for a transcript of your high school grades. So keep all of this in mind when you're doing your applications. These are all things you have to prepare for and understand as you go into the application process. Let's talk quickly about short answer questions. What topics do they cover? What do universities ask you when it comes to these short answer questions? Well, the main ones are going to be sports, volunteering and club work, community involvement, and extracurricular projects that you do in your own free time. But I think it's better to ask, why do they ask these questions? What are these universities trying to get to know about you? Well, they're trying to understand if you as a student have some soft skills, which are skills that are hard to measure. They're hard to measure, but you can show them with the work that you've done and the experience that you have. So things like how quickly you can acquire new skills and knowledge, how well you can manage your time and divide your time between your hobbies, your clubs, things like that. Can you commit to your goals and achieve them consistently? Can you adapt to setbacks and challenges? Can you overcome tribulations in your way? And can you work with others? The main thing that we have to remember whenever we're doing university applications is you have to make yourself stand out. Show that you're interesting, that you're a unique individual. And you do that by telling a personal story about your life. Because interesting people do interesting things with their time. When you're looking into extracurricular opportunities, look at a diverse range of things. Robotics clubs, chess clubs, art, you can do sports, music. All of these things show that you are a well-rounded, interesting person that a university is going to want to bring into their academy. These are all good qualities to show when you're answering a short answer question. And you can build your own sort of bank, your word bank, of what qualities, what strengths do I have that I can show with my extracurricular experience. Things like my drive, my well-roundedness as a student, as an athlete, as a musician, as an artist. My leadership. Have I taken on any seniority, any responsibility in my extracurricular roles? And my confidence in myself, that I believe that I deserve to be here, that I am worthy of this. Lastly, we have to remember that your extracurricular activities as a student are a mirror. They're a reflection of yourself. The things that you do define who you are as a person. So your qualification for whatever major you're applying to and your personal values, what makes you stand out as a person, that has to show in what you do. My biggest tip, I'm urging you to, if you don't heed any of my other advice, heed this. When it comes to your extracurricular activities as a student, start early. Join clubs and sports and activities at the beginning of high school and commit to them. Do them all throughout and show that you can stick to these things, that you have a passion for them. And make connections. Talk to the people that you're working with. Talk to your managers. Collect references that you can use later on when you're applying to these places. Track your accomplishments as you go. I didn't know how useful this would be for me. I never wrote anything down. And then when it came time, people would ask me, what have you accomplished? What have you done with your time in these clubs? And I would say, well, I gotta get back to you. And that's not something you want. You want concrete proof of what you have accomplished, what you can do, right? You want a solid resume, and that's what tracking your goals and your achievements does. This will all make writing your application extremely easy. it will make it a breeze. Okay, so those are my tips for short answer questions. Let's take a look at this. So, in my personal case, one of the things that I loved talking about when I was asked about extracurricular activities was my time volunteering for the Burnaby Neighborhood House Food Bank. Okay? They're an organization in Burnaby, and they do a lot of good community work. And I love talking about my time there. I spent about a year or a year and a half volunteering at their food bank. And I like this example because it allowed me to talk about my building up my communication skills, my leadership skills. But also it gave the universities and the scholarship organizations a picture of a person who cares about his community. Someone who is involved firsthand with bettering the environment around him. It's traits like these good traits, these noble traits that universities admire about candidates. And these are the stories that you want to tell when you're applying for a place in universities, okay? Now, we'll talk about what, for a lot of students, is the scariest part of university applications, which are essays, okay? Long essays are extremely nerve-wracking. They seem like this huge hurdle to overcome as a high school student because they can be so vague. When universities ask you questions for essays, it usually follows a template sort of like this. They ask you to describe a time you demonstrated resilience or strength or grit. They tell you to explain how you've made sacrifices that have shaped who you are or how you've made mistakes and learned from them, right? Not every question will be this, but most questions are similar. The way that we tackle essays as high school students is to tell a good story. And these are all extremely important things to include in your essays that you write. You have to show these institutions that you have overcome obstacles to get to where you are. You have to use your story, your personal story, to demonstrate your defining qualities, right? How can I show with one story the best parts of myself, the strongest parts of myself? How do I make those shine through? That's where the art of essay writing is for applications. And you have to explain your motivations. The universities all want to know, why have you applied to our program? If you have not done research on your major beforehand, and your motivation to apply is not strong enough, well, what are they going to think? A good applicant is someone who knows what they want. Someone who has a long-term goal, and they are willing to commit to it and follow through and do the best they can to excel. And you need to show them. You need to use your essay to prove your worth as a candidate. Why do I deserve this? Because I deserve this. For scholarships and for universities, you need to show your worth and win, right? That's what you're doing. It's a big competition. There's so many people applying to all of these university programs, these scholarship programs. But you're special. I know you are. You're all very special. I've seen all these projects today. They've all impressed me so much. I've had a great time. And I know that there's so much talent lying in each and every one of you. And all you need to do is communicate that with these essays. Okay. Let's talk about relevance. When I talked about your motivation, this is sort of what I'm talking about. Whether you're applying for an engineering program, medicine, pharmaceutical science, literature, finance, economics, agriculture, every single field has so much depth, so many things to learn, so many careers and life paths you can take, no matter what field you choose. So why have you chosen the one that you have? I applied as an engineering student to UBC. And I made sure that I wanted it. I wanted it so bad. Because I had done the research, because I had looked into the program and I understood that this is what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. And knowing that, understanding that, you can apply that to your essays. and you can mention the relevant experiences, skills, and ideas and plans that you have for your major. I'll give you an example. One of my good friends from my first year at UBC, he showed me his application at the start of the year, and it blew me away. I thought my essay writing was strong, but he had something special. He wrote about something called the CubeSat competition. And if you're in high school, this is something you can link into, these satellite competitions. They run them for high schoolers all across the world, and they're extremely good if you're applying for engineering or computer science. He was able to tell a story about all the challenges he had faced working on his satellite, on how tough the competition was, and how he pulled his team together to win awards in the competition. And having that relevant extracurricular experience to write about, that made him stand out so much as a candidate. So having these relevant experiences with your major in mind will make essay writing much easier because they are the topic that you base your essay around. His essay was based around telling the story of him competing. And that makes for a very interesting story to read, right? Okay. So a good essay should have 3 things, okay? You have to make sure you claim that you are a good candidate, that you are a deserving candidate of a scholarship, of enrollment at a university. You have to claim that. Make that claim very clearly. I am a good fit for this program. Second point is, here's why. You have to connect your claim to your personal story. That's the one that I just talked about, the relevant personal story. You have to take this story that is relevant, unique, and interesting to read, and you have to use that to back up your claim. So that's part 3. Use your story and show your qualities. Show what you've learned. I love showing a lesson that I've learned. A lot of my essays that I wrote in high school, I tried to center them around a lesson. Because unlike my friend, I had not done very specific extracurriculars. So I loved talking about a lesson that I had learned that shaped me into the person that I am today, and why that made me worthy. Right? And if you include all of this, you can put it into something that I like to call the versatile essay. Versatile essays are something I made up in high school when I was talking to my juniors. So the upcoming classes going into university, I was helping them with their applications. And I talked to them about making versatile essays to use throughout the year in grade 12. Versatile essays are like a solid bedrock foundation for your applications. Whether it's universities, clubs, design teams, universities, scholarships, anything, your applications will benefit from a steady, solid foundation of a versatile essay that you can build on top of. The whole point of a versatile essay is to include all the things that I've talked about in the last few slides. And then what you can do is you can customize your versatile essay for different universities and for different scholarships and awards. If I have already written about who I am and how I became that way, if I have already written about my strengths and my qualities and the things that I have overcome, well, now I just have to tailor it. I have to add details. I have to add adjustments. That's like this house. On top of a solid foundation, if your foundation is strong enough, you can build so many different things on top of it. If you write a good, versatile essay before your senior year in high school, you can adjust it and use it for multiple different things. And what that does is it cuts down on the time and effort you put in. It allows you to work smarter and not harder for your university and scholarship applications. All right, this is a big, thing. Asking for help and looking for resources. Now, I provided you with just a few resources at the beginning of the presentation, but there's a lot more, right, if you really get into the process. And that takes a lot of time on your part. But it's much easier if we ask for a helping hand from others. This is why I always tell young students to talk to their high school counselors, their club supervisors, the teachers that they have a good relationship with, and their senior students. Because we can provide so much information to you guys, and we can help you along your application journey. Right? Ask everyone you can about application tips and resources. Where can I find more scholarships? Where can I find more volunteering opportunities? A lot of my volunteering time that I did in high school was found through my counselor. And all I did was I just sat in his office the entire morning and I just bugged him. No matter what work he was doing, I would be asking him questions the whole time. Because we are all glad to help. These people in your life, our responsibility is to shape the next generation into successful people. So do not be afraid to ask. Be a nuisance to your high school counselors. It's their job. Okay? It is their job. They are more than happy to help you. Your high school counselors are a huge resource that I feel like a lot of people leave untapped. So don't be afraid, don't be nervous, talk to everyone you can, and get as much help as possible. Okay, let's do a quick little summary before I leave you all for the rest of the evening. The main points from today's meeting, or from today's presentation, is to search for extracurricular opportunities early, and to stay committed to them, okay? Even if you aren't in high school yet, it's still great to get involvement in your community. I love events like these because they allow us to get a taste for what we're interested in, what our passions are, and what extracurricular activities we can look into in the future. Whether they're science related, or mathematics related, or related to one of our personal passions and hobbies, explore that. It makes you a more interesting person, a more well-rounded person. It's very useful. And stay committed. Do them for a long time. The things that you pick up, don't give up. Don't give up the things you're interested in. Even if there are challenges, it's more rewarding if you stick through. And then you can hold your head high and say, yes, I've done this for a long time. Even through challenges, even through the storm, I've gone through it and I've emerged victorious, you know. Track your achievements. As you go through high school, track your achievements. What have you done? What projects have you finished? What work are you proud of? Track all of that, write it down, and connect with people who can be your future references. So your teachers, your managers at work, right, your volunteering jobs. Connect with those people. Talk to them. And ask them straight up, hey, can I ask you in the future for a reference? Are you willing to write a reference for me? Have clear post-secondary plans in mind, okay? When you go into post-secondary, you don't want to have a vague story like, oh, I'm just interested in learning. I'm just interested in growing as a person. Well, that's great, but that's what everyone at university is there for. There has to be a deeper reason for why you want to do what you want to do specifically. I had a passion for problem solving. And for building things that have a real impact on the world. That's why I chose to go into engineering. And that was my reason. You have to find your own reasoning for going on into post-secondary. And write these versatile essays. These versatile essays are so helpful. And I remember when I was talking to my junior students, they wrote theirs near the end of grade 11, and it helped them so much in their grade 12, because there's so many deadlines stacked up so close to each other, and you need a way to just cut down on the time that you waste writing. Versatile essays are the way to go here, in my opinion. All right. And the versatile essays just allow you to add and adjust them as you require for your applications, whether it's scholarships or universities. All right, thank you so much for being a great audience. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to come back to me after the presentation. And I'm glad to connect with any of you. Thank you so much.